Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. I'm really glad to see you guys came back for another update. Now, today has been a pretty big day in crypto with quite a lot of really cool announcements, and yeah, we're going to get into that in a little second. But first of all, my question of today is, are you guys holding any stocks or just crypto? I understand a lot of you guys, hold crypto, but really, I'm wondering what the stocks ratio is for you guys that are watching. So put it in the comment section down below. I'm really interested to see the results. Now, one of those big announcements of today actually came from a crypto we don't cover on the channel too often, but we are quite familiar with, and it comes from Pundai X. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, I actually don't know exactly what point Pundai X is at because really they've been getting all over the place for a very long while. But yes, they are exactly here at the 100 spot, and they just went up over 50 or so percent. It says 43, but really what it did is like 50 or so percent. Has been really, really insane. And one of the announcements they came up with here is American Pundai X merchants can now sell crypto via PayPal. So yes, this is not a small feat. This is actually one of the biggest things that has happened in crypto thus far once more because, well, you can kind of see the impact here. You can see it did some pretty good stuff for for Pundai X here. They're not leaving it in the dark. It was a pretty big move, if I do say so myself. As the crypto community's anticipation for PayPal's exploration into crypto grows, Pundai X has integrated the payments processor for its point-of-sale Expose devices. PayPal is the first mobile payment gateway to be integrated onto Expose, and users from more than 30 countries can now accept funds via the payment processor. However, this is a pretty big thing, but it will be split into two stages, with US-based merchants who use Expose able to apply for what I assume to be PayPal-based key transactions, and a PayPal app is expected to be integrated onto all Expose devices within 2 weeks, completing the rollout. So to me, this was a pretty big deal, pretty big integration, pretty big freaking partnership, or at least I should call it integration that they got here. And another funnier fact is that they decided this because of a Twitter poll. I would personally think it's really kind of simple and plain Jane to understand that out of PayPal, WeChat, Pay, Alipay, and GoPay, you would always pick PayPal. But since Singapore-based, or I guess since PayPal or Pundai X right now is Singapore-based, I guess WeChat and Alipay might be a lot more popular than in the US or here in Europe. Because, I mean, I've personally never used Alipay, nor GoPay, nor WeChat Pay. And I've used PayPal a ton. But so the choice for me was pretty obvious, but maybe it's a little bit different. Now, the reason I think this is actually way bigger of a deal than this would have been, let's say 3 months ago, is because PayPal has shown such tremendous interest in crypto, which makes this all the more special that they could, be one of the first ones to get such a thing going on. And Pundai X has really been known for being kind of revolutionary in that aspect of really trying to get some groundbreaking things going on, especially with their with their point of sale device. It's really becoming a bigger thing than I think anybody could have imagined. For them to get this going on is just really, really insane to me, and I wish them the best of freaking luck, because this is really amazing to see. Here is how much investing $1,000 into Bitcoin 5 years ago would be worth today. Now, I always find these articles really, really interesting to look into, because it really makes me think about leaving investment opportunities and kind of missing out on things. It kind of excites my FOMO. It gets it up there because I'm always thinking, what if I only put in $1,000 5 years ago? Or what if I put in $1,000 right now? How much would that get me in 5 years? And I know it might be difficult for you to think like that right now because we've been going downhill for the last 3 years. So I can understand why it might be kind of ununderstandable or really kind of vague. But really, most of the time, if you take a 5 year, you take a rolling period of 5 years, you'll get positive returns, at least at one point within that time period. And also, even right now, if you invest, 5 years is a long time. But on the contrary, it's also really a short amount of time. If you think about working for the next 5 years, it kind of depends on what type of work you do. If you've been doing it for the last 45 years, well, it might just be another 5 to go. But if you just started a new job, or really you change jobs every year, 5 years might look like a ton. And that's just it's all perspective. 5 years might be really, really short for you, might be really, really long for somebody else. Waiting 5 years to become really, really rich, or waiting 5 years to turn your 1,000 into 10,000 or 100,000, yeah, the importance changes with everybody. And to me, 5 years to potentially become financially free for some people, then, yeah, that's really not a hefty price to pay. But all right, as we scroll through here, 5 years from Monday, Bitcoin closed at $263 on June 29th of 2015. Meaning a $1,000 investment at the time would have gotten an investor 3.8 Bitcoin. 2.5 years later, on December 17th, the leading crypto hit an all-time high of $20,000, and this means the $1,000 invested would be worth $76,000, a whopping 7,636% return on those who divested at the time. However, we are not at the all-time high anymore, so of course, the prices you would have gotten at that point, yeah, you're not getting those anymore. But no, today, the same $1,000 spent to purchase 3.8 Bitcoin in June is worth $35,000, which is not as absurd as the 2017 high, but still a really considerable 3,500% increase. This compares with 45.3% increase in the Dow Jones over the same period, and S&P 500 is nearly up 48% over the course of 5 years, and the technology-heavy Nasdaq 100 has nearly doubled, adding 99.1%. Tesla added 285, Amazon 523, and Apple 190%, showing us that crypto, especially Bitcoin here, no, not actually especially Bitcoin, but crypto and Bitcoin here specifically have beaten the market like crazy. I'm talking about the traditional market. They've beaten it like crazy, like no tomorrow. All right, another one thing that really got trendy over in the interwebs was this. Ripple's success could leave XRP in the dust, according to Bitcoin bull Anthony Pompliano. In another article, Anthony Pompliano believes the success of Ripple doesn't guarantee the success of XRP. And now you guys know, I'm bullish on a lot of crypto. Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, Stellar, VeChain, you name them. But what he says here is really something that would come out of the mouth of a Bitcoin maximalist. That's one. But also, he has a point. Because if you start to relate it a little bit further, and again, I'm invested into XRP, I enjoy investing, I'm really bullish on it long term. I can see it from both ways. You always got to nuance everything you invest in and look at to make sure, you're always of the same opinion, that you don't all of a sudden, do not feel safe anymore with your investment. Because I feel perfectly safe, I know exactly what I'm invested in, and I'm really, really happy with all the choices I've been making. But I'm also thinking about it all the time. Why he has a point is because, realistically speaking, partners right now hop onto RippleNet. And what Barrett Garlinghouse himself said is that once they are on RippleNet, it's not going to be that difficult to transfer them over to ODL. And again, ODL is a part of RippleNet, but it's a little bit of a different, side of it. However, one thing he also mentions, and which is also logical to see, is that it's never really necessary for any party to use ODL. Is it beneficiary, or does it have any benefit for them? Yes. Will all parties do it? No. Is it necessary for all parties to do it? No. And so Anthony has a point where he says that even if Ripple becomes the number one company in the world, it doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of people use ODL. It's not a one-to-one thing. The expectation is there, but it's not by definition so. And another thing, of course, added to it is that even if ODL were to be used a ridiculous amount of by a ridiculous amount of players and become the most liquid asset in the world or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean the XRP price would go up like crazy. Again, it's not a one-to-one. I can understand why it would, because the demand would most likely go up like crazy because people will want to have it, like people also have cash for the US dollar. But it's not necessarily a very big thing. And that's one thing you should always consider and, always keep in the back of your head. Arrington set up crypto hedge fund with the help of Brad Garlinghouse. We talked about that a little bit earlier, I believe a couple of weeks ago already, is when that was really quite trending. In the latest edition of the Pump podcast, the well-known Bitcoin advocate spoke with Arrington on issues ranging from US politics, regulation in the crypto space, Bitcoin, and Ripple and XRP. Crypto is the future. Well, we all know crypto is the future. He added, "I'm an American. I want our country to succeed, and I believe crypto is the future. I believe Bitcoin is money, and money is Bitcoin." But I'm wondering as well, what he thinks about the situation of the US or China really buying crypto altogether. Or what I mean with that is them getting a lot of money invested into mining equipment, then shorting Bitcoin and going for a heavy 51% attack on Bitcoin. What does he think about that? And again, the last part was XRP's success is not pegged to success of Ripple. And again, it's what I just explained. Arrington admitted that he is in love with XRP as it serves a very important purpose. Pump, not so much. He explained that Ripple, the company that plans to build better software for banks, is a no-brainer. In fact, he is quite jealous he didn't invest in Ripple in the seed round and make a lot of money. However, he finds the relationship between Ripple and XRP as weird. He understands why Ripple uses XRP as a part of the overall Ripple product, and he also sees the ensuing advantages in the Ripple ecosystem. What he doesn't understand is why investors buy the digital asset with expectations of higher prices in the future. According to Pump, if Ripple is successful, that doesn't mean XRP has to be successful. And again, he has a couple of points, I guess to kind of counter it or to see why it's really kind of a possibility to think the price will go up is a couple of ones. One is it's still a crypto and people speculate on that. That will happen for as long as this market is as small as it is, which will most likely be the next years to come, the next at least 10 years. It'll be relatively small. Second of all is, well, if Ripple uses this specific currency and a lot of people are going to be using it and it's getting really something that people transact with every single day, a lot of people will want to have the coin, either for the sake of it being very liquid, which you can send around the world as simple as just, it kind of, takes away one step from needing to have a euro. They could just use the XRP instead, and you could transfer it to all currencies. Third of all would most likely be the one that people expect the most, which is the US dollar is going to fall and XRP is going to become a new sort of digital dollar in that sense, where it's not pegged to anything like stable coins, but it's really just another new means of payment, a new world currency, and things like that is what people expect it to be. It's a possibility. I'm not ruling it out because it's also simple to see how it can be really beneficial to use XRP over the US dollar in some cases. I can understand that. And I'm also thinking about, what other reasons you could think of why the XRP price would go up. I mean, there's actually quite a ton of them, Another one to kind of think about is, of course, that they have a lot of it. Ripple has a ton of it. Another one, which is kind of a sub of this one, but is that the founders, Jim McCaleb, Brad Garlinghouse, a couple other, Chris Larson, Justin Sun, most likely a lot of these guys who are early Ripple workers or employees, again, not necessarily just founders, but a lot of the employees and people who make a difference in crypto and all those types of guys, they most likely got themselves a lot of XRP as well. And they most likely would want the price to go up, and thus they'll most likely think of a strategy where that would be the case, right? At least that looks kind of logical to me. And the one I said before that is Ripple. Well, Ripple has the majority in escrow, that's one, but also they have the majority of XRP in just holdings. I don't know how much they have, but they have a ton of it. And looking from that perspective, it would not be that crazy if they also would want the price to go up, so their net assets would be worth more. Or I guess their assets will be worth a lot more. Alright, but guys, that was it for this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it, and hopefully you learned something new. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and also let me know how you like this pace. I try to do it a little bit slower, but what I also notice is that whenever I talk slower, I talk a little bit softer. So yeah, let me know how you enjoyed it, and give me some feedback. I'll see you guys again in another crypto video. Take care, and have a very, very nice day.